And how, and when I say that, it's such a simple thing, but it's also such, isn't it such a rare thing? To be fully in our bodies, to be fully in the moment. Can we be honest about that?
Yeah.
That is such a rare thing in today's day, in life and styles and in society, to just really be home, to really be within ourselves, to really be fully present in the body. Because a lot of times, sometimes we may have some pains in our body going on, and we don't want to be fully present to the pain or the discomforts, right? Or whatever it is. So we're always looking for distractions to distract us away from maybe that which we think is painful. You know, and sometimes, a lot of times, it's not even conscious. It's very unconscious. That we've got something going on, and we don't want to be fully present to it. Maybe an issue. Maybe it's a feeling of fear. Maybe it's a feeling of anxiety. And that's why, you know, there's so much prescription drugs being taken on for all kinds of stuff. You go to a doctor and a psychologist and a psychiatrist. What do they? Mostly they prescribe drugs, right? That's the traditional way. I know that's not always the case. There are alternatives and alternative type of, you know, doctors. But what does that do? That just suppresses what's already there. Does it ever heal? Does taking a pill ever heal a situation? Does it ever bring healing?
No.
It's a Band-Aid.
Never. It never does. You know? It always, it's a distraction. It's like, you know, I used to go to a chiropractor and he would say, you know, it's like you step on the dog's tail. And the dog's going to what? Yell, right? Because it's in pain because you're stepping on his tail. But instead of like taking your foot off the tail, what we do in medicine is we put a muzzle on the dog so you can't hear the voice. To silence the dog, rather than addressing the cause. So that's a lot of times what the drugs do. You know, they don't really address the cause. And so if nothing ever really addresses the cause, it can never really bring true healing. Right? Agreed? You don't have to agree. But I just want to know, you know, everybody has their own belief systems, and we're programmed with these belief systems that we need this, we need that in order to make us feel right. And I'm not saying all medication is bad or any of that sense. It's very necessary in many cases. I know that I broke my ankle New Year's Day, 2011. I was in Hawaii. I was at a waterfall, and you know, this Hawaiian brother was there. He was standing under the waterfall, and he was guiding us through this jungle in this valley. And I wanted to experience that. I'm like a little kid, you know, as you can see. And I was making my way to get under this waterfall. My foot slipped on a rock, and I went into the crevice of between two other rocks. And I fell sideways into the pool of water. But you know that my leg snapped. I couldn't walk for a couple months. So after that experience, I was highly devoted to learning how to walk again. And now in this day and time, I'm very highly devoted to making my body new, because if I don't take care of the cause, you know, if I don't really heal at the causal level on this thing, then I'll have problems later on, and I'll go to the doctor and they'll just prescribe drugs for me, and that's really not going to take me down the course I want to go, you know. But during the surgeries and stuff, I had to take whatever they gave me, you know, for a little bit of time. I got off of it quick, thank God. But I had to take, you know, because that pain was excruciating. And I went and got surgery, and they stuck screws in me and stuff. I didn't want anything foreign into my body, but I needed it. There was no way around it. I mean, I was really severed. I broke it on both sides, the tibia and the fibula. So I got screws on one side, I got a metal plate on the other side. And so I am becoming one. My body is learned to become at one with that so-called foreign objects, with those foreign objects, right? It's learning to become one. It's learning to embrace that which is foreign. That's what I have to teach it to, you know what I mean? Because sometimes your body will just reject. So if it rejects it at some point, you know, maybe I have to get it taken out in the future or something, I don't know. But I don't want to go under the knife again if I don't need to, you know? So devotion, coming back to this ocean of devotion. You know, one of the key aspects for me in devotion is, like I talked about earlier, is getting out of the head and coming into the heart. Because to me, you know, when we did the reading, the word was bhakti. Bhakti means devotion. Bhakti is devotional yoga, right? Bhakti yoga is the yoga of devotion. And we read from the yoga of spiritual devotion, which is the Bhakti Sutras. This is like a scripture. And there's a story in here that in the reading that we kind of skipped over, but I think maybe it's time, maybe I can bring it in now. There's a beautiful story from the Jewish tradition that highlights this point, that one morning one of the students of Rabbi Zushi, a great lover of God, came to the rabbi's home and found the rabbi in tears. The student asked the rabbi why he was crying. The rabbi responded, that the previous night during his prayers he had a vision of God. The student was awestruck that his rabbi had personally experienced a vision of God. He asked the rabbi, what could have occurred that such a magnanimous event could possibly bring sadness to you? The rabbi answered, all my life, I have tried to be a good Jew. I have striven to be like Abraham, to be like Isaac, to be like Moses. Then last night, when I spoke with God, he asked me why I had wanted to be other than as he created me. He wanted to know why I had not striven to be like Zusha, which is his name. You missed that part. And as Zusha is someone I had never really loved, I realized that I had been failing in my own spiritual life. This is why I cry. The real devotion, a lot of times, could be to embrace who we are fully. As being, like I said in the beginning, as being that perfect expression and being that perfect one that God has created. That's a devotion, huh? To really embrace yourself. Because, it's like we says love your neighbor, right? As you love yourself, right? But the prerequisite to loving your neighbor is to love yourself. So if you love your neighbor, can't really love your neighbor until you first love yourself. Until you embrace who you are. So we really have that devotion for ourselves. Because a lot of times our devotion can be placed outside of ourselves, and or to a God up in the sky somewhere, anywhere but here. But our teaching is all about right here, right now, that that this omnipresent Spirit is everywhere, and if it's everywhere, it's got to be right here. And if it's right here, then I am a part or at one with this presence that is at all times everywhere, omnipresence, right? And if I am at one with it, then if I am to find it or to discover it or to cherish it or to love it, I have to start right here, right where I am. But I can't go off on this pilgrim. Well, I can go off on the pilgrimage, but wherever you go, you're gonna take you there. Wherever you go, you arrive. The common denominator in your whole life, in every situation, every circumstance, has been you. Has been me. And so, when we turn around, when we turn our attention inward, and find this source of great love within us, and allow that to flow forth, that's the living waters for me. That's the living waters that heals all things, that brings true healing, that heals conditions of the mind, the body, the emotions. And when we can truly turn our attention inward, connect to this presence, to know, and the first time thing is like, you see it when you believe it. You're once you become aware, once you look in a direction, you can't see what's in that corner until I look into that corner to see what's there, right? So you can't really see and discover what's really inside of you and who you really are until you look within yourself to see what's there.